Guns N' Roses went into the studio to record what would become Appetite for Destruction. However, it proved difficult to find a suitable producer for the album until they met Mike Klink.
They had gone through a couple of producers who just couldn't handle the guys. Guns N' Roses had a very, very definite vision. They knew they wanted what they wanted to do and how they wanted to do it. They knew how they wanted to sound. And all too often you will find with new bands that seasoned producers will come in and try to imprint their style and their sound and their voice into the recording rather than allowing the artists to do it, especially when they're new, because these seasoned producers think they know better. Well, when you're dealing with a band like Guns N' Roses, they're not going to put up with that. Well, Mike Klink obviously gave them enough leeway that they could work together. But one of the funny stories he had is that one of the first times he met with them and started recording, he said their equipment was so old he doesn't think Slash had ever changed the strings on his guitar. He had to go out and buy new strings and buy some new equipment because their stuff was all beat up, and he didn't know how Slash ever stayed in tune.
When they were in the studio, they were extremely professional. Okay, it wasn't like a big party like everybody probably thinks and everything. Slash, would go in there and lay down his tracks, and it was just them going in and recording.
By December 1986, the band had begun to mix Appetite for Destruction, but with the album not slated for release until July the following year, Geffen were eager to introduce their new band ahead of schedule. It was decided that Guns N' Roses' debut release was to be the EP Live Like a Suicide.
It really was a demo. And the only reason that I believe Geffen Records released it at all is because it took so long for them to do the first album. Take advantage of a buzz and heat when it's happening. And when Guns N' Roses were signed, they were very, very hot, at least on the local scene and in the surrounding regions. And so Geffen obviously wanted to take advantage of that and release their demo.
It was a very low-rent type of release. No budget, no stylistics around it. They just punched the music out with a cover that really just represents Gun and a Rose, as it were. And because it was powerful and in your face and very live, the performances really did knock your socks off, and it really captured immediately what this band were about, which was, we don't care, we're not interested in vibe, we're not interested in trend, we're not interested in image or fashion. This is us, this is real, this is in your face, you like it or you don't.
Appetite for Destruction was finally released on the 21st of July 1987. However, it was not an immediate commercial success.
We went out on tour before Appetite actually was released. We went out with the Cult, and so they were touring without an album. And we were up in Canada, I think, when the album was released. I'm not sure about that, but nobody knew who the band was. And I'm pretty sure that at the time it was going nowhere.
It didn't exactly take off immediately. The first single that they had chosen was Welcome to the Jungle. That didn't do so well. It didn't get much radio play, didn't happen much. And then they did what every label does. They have their ace in the hole. And what you'll notice with a lot of new acts, if the first single doesn't hit, the ace in the hole from the label is generally a ballad, because ballads are historically popular. And so they released Sweet Child of Mine.